All right, Nick, let's talk about the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. This is a team off to an incredibly hot start. 4 games, 4 wins. Offense looks like it's clicking. The defense looks like it's shutting teams down. This is a team coming into a big game versus the Ohio State Buckeyes. Looking like this time around could be different because Marcus and Freeman and co. have something in store. They're going to play things a little bit differently this time around.
Yeah, Miles, I think you got a couple really great reports, and I think we'll get Fighting Irish fans really excited because, like you said, monumental matchup against the Ohio State Buckeyes this weekend, which means Notre Dame fans in the comment section below, give us your prediction for this game. Look, all eyes are going to be on South Bend. This is probably the biggest matchup of the year to this point. I think even bigger than Texas and Alabama because we've seen what Alabama has looked like since then. I think we're looking at 2 college football playoff contenders on Saturday. So give us your prediction. Fighting Irish versus Buckeyes in the comment section below. All right, Miles, what you got? What's the latest out of South Bend?
Yeah, Nick, we have a lot to cover in the ways of articles. So let's hit those first. We'll talk about them on the other side of things. This first part is from over on NBC Sports. This is talking about Marcus Freeman's new plan on how to face the Ohio State Buckeyes. It says Ohio State is still potent and inarguably so as long as Marvin Harrison Jr. lines up wide and Trayvon Henderson is in the backfield. But with Sam Hartman directing a far more potent and consistent Notre Dame offense, that conservative approach will be left in 2022, talking about Marcus Freeman's approach to the Ohio State Buckeyes, obviously in 2022. The Irish now have a decent chance of keeping pace with the Buckeyes, if even not outscoring them. That is both logic and something Freeman acknowledged. Part of the mindset going into that game was trying to control the ball, talking about last year, as long as we could, limit their offensive possessions, Freeman said. It still has to be complementary football as we go into this Saturday, but I do not want to play not to lose. I don't want to play that way. I want our guys to be aggressive. I want our guys to be attacking. We will play complementary football, but our objective is not to hold the ball and huddle every single play. So, Nick, it looks like Ohio State are feeling a little bit more, Notre Dame is feeling a little bit more confident going in to play Ohio State this time around. They're not going to just limit the offensive possessions. They're not going to try to slow the game down. They're going to go in. They're going to take shots. They're going to be aggressive because they feel like they can keep up with this Ohio State team. But there's a couple of other factors coming into play, just showing how much stronger Notre Dame is coming into this game. Obviously, they have a new quarterback in Sam Hartman, but they have some key additions coming back from injury that I think will be big for this team as well. This is from over on ESPN. It says number 9 Notre Dame will regain 3 starters from injury for this week's showdown against the Ohio State Buckeyes, as linebacker J.D. Bertrand, safety DJ Brown, and tight end Mitchell Evans are all set to play. Coach Marcus Freeman confirmed the players return Monday, while saying tight end Eli Raridon will remain out as he works his way back from a knee injury. So, Nick, nonetheless, Ohio State, look out, because Notre Dame, they're coming. They're going to be much stronger than last time, and they have a pretty interesting game plan to boot. What do you think about all of this for Notre Dame, Nick?
So look, anytime you play a team like Ohio State, you want to give yourselves as many paths to victory as possible, right? You want to be able to say, well, if our defense plays great, we can maybe win a defensive game. Maybe if it's a shootout, do we have the weapons to beat them too? If it's a ground and pound game, let's say it's bad weather, we can win with a running game as well. Last year, Notre Dame didn't have that, obviously, because they didn't have the quarterback, like they do now in Hartman, to go toe-to-toe with Ohio State in a shootout. Now they do. So they've given themselves multiple paths to victory. One thing you have to do, though, when you have those multiple paths, and a lot of coaches, it sounds simple, but they kind of screw it up a little bit. They play a big-time program. They have a big-time quarterback. They still play conservative. They still sit there and say, well, we don't want to be too aggressive. We don't want to, risk losing the game early. So we still want to control the clock, control the tempo. And Freeman's not doing that, which is 100% the correct thing to do. Credit to him for making a really smart decision here. Because I've seen it all the time. This is what teams used to do against Alabama. They'd have a really talented team. LSU used to do this for a long time. Georgia, before that got good, would have a similar thing. They'd have a really talented team. They go toe-to-toe with Alabama, and they get real conservative because they're like, oh, we don't want to turn the ball over because Alabama's really good. They got a lot of great players. And what happens is you narrow your path to victory, because then the only way you can win is if it's a fast-paced game in terms of a lot of time of possessions, not very many overall possessions, low scoring. You have only one chance to win. Or you can keep all your options open. You can keep the venue of being aggressive opening and winning it if it's a shootout. You can always go back to the running game, ground and pound, and slow the game down if you need to, right? But by not narrowing your focus at this point, you give yourself multiple paths to victory, which is crucial against a quality team. You got to give yourself as many chances to win as possible. And of course, you can only really do that if you got a lot of your quality players back. And it's always good to get starters back on the field, especially on defense, because we know Ohio State, they haven't looked 100% like we normally expect from the Buckeyes through the first few weeks of the season, but they're still stacked, right? They still got great running backs. They still got Harrison. They still got a multitude of wide receivers, tight ends. You're going to need all your playmakers on defense to contain these guys. Getting these guys back is going to be huge to allow Notre Dame to do just that. I tell you what, I'm actually, a lot of people are on Ohio State right now to win this game. They're actually a 3-point road favorite, according to ESPN. I'm picking Notre Dame to win this game just because I think they have multiple ways to do it, right? I feel like Ohio State can only win if it's a shootout, but Notre Dame can win if it's a shootout too. If you listen to Freeman, and of course, if you watch Hartman, Notre Dame, if it's a defensive game, I think they got that advantage. If it's a bad weather, kind of ugly game, they'll have that advantage as well. I think Notre Dame is probably better at quarterback, which is probably the most important thing, but they also have multiple paths to victory now. And I think that's why they're going to pull it off against the Buckeyes on Saturday.
Yeah, Nick, I agree with you 100% there. And I think the key factor in this game is not only the good defense and great offense, but the quarterback, Sam Hartman, will make all of the difference. And some will say, Hartman, he's coming from Wake Forest. Has he ever been in a moment this big before? And we rewind the script back to last year, in 2021, rather. He took then number 5 Clemson double overtime. So that was a big moment for him as well. He goes toe-to-toe with a Drake May-led North Carolina. That was a big game for him as well. So this guy, he's been in the moment. He knows what it looks like. He is not afraid of that. So I think this isn't going to be too bright of a light for Sam Hartman. I think we're really going to see him shine in this game.